Navigating the Heart. Who is Dragging You? By Ock Soo Park. Chapter 2. Desires. Have you learned self-control from a young age? A temp cleaner and his son from a village in Seoul. When a person lives humbling his heart, a joyful and thankful life is possible. For example, suppose I am a person who is rated at about 100, but I think of myself to be 200 or 300. Since there is such a difference in ratings, when conflicts or situations come up, then I will always think that it is because other people are slighting me or despising me. That one thought will cause me to always be dissatisfied with the actions of other people who are dealing with me. On the other hand, if I am a person who is rated at 100, but I think of myself to be only 30 or 40, then I will always feel thankful and overwhelmed by the actions of the people around me who are treating me so well. Once you humble your heart, just as the water flows from a higher place to a lower place, the hearts of the people around you start to flow into you, causing you to always have thoughts of thankfulness. On the other hand, if you become high-hearted, you feel frustrated and full of complaints because of how you judge yourself. Ultimately, the people around you begin to dislike you for being that way. With just the people around you, it may be okay with them because they do not see you every day. However, if you are that way while living with your family, then things will only get worse. If a husband's heart is high, then his wife has to live in misery. If the wife is high-hearted, then the husband has to live in misery, and the children end up living miserably as well. If you become high-hearted, it makes all of the people around you become uncomfortable. Therefore, you must not become high-hearted. However, the nature of a person's heart is to continually become exalted more and more. Nowadays, gas or oil burners are mostly used for heating systems, but long ago, charcoal was burnt during the winter for heating. That's why in the past there would be at least 2, 3, or even as much as 10 trays of ash a day per house. When the charcoal ashes would pile up in front of the doors of each house, the cleaners would come early in the morning bringing big carts, loading the carts with the charcoal ashes and hauling them away. In one village in Seoul, there was a very steep incline, so it was very difficult for the cleaners. At the top of that incline, when there would be snow in the winter, the cleaners would slip and fall. In the village where that steep incline was, there was a cleaner named Kol Min Kim. Because he was so poor, he lived in a single room with his wife and 3 children. When he would come home after cleaning the charcoal ashes, he would be so tired that he would have aches and pains the whole night. One day, his eldest son, who was in the 6th grade, heard his father moaning all night, and then saw his father wake up early in the morning once again, change clothes, and go back to work. His wife, who was standing next to him, spoke with a worried heart. "Honey, if you go out with that body of yours, and if it gets worse, what are you going to do? If you take 1 day off, your body will get better. Just take 1 day off today." It is because you don't know what will happen. If I take 1 day off, then the ashes of the region that I'm in charge of would be piled too high. If the district office employee passes by and sees that, because I am not a full-time employee but just a temp, then he will fire me for not working diligently. Then how are we going to eat, and how are we going to live? I have to get up and go. If he could have, he would have taken a day off, but the father slowly put on his clothes, put on his gloves, and went outside. It was so heartbreaking for the son to see such an image of his father. The son knew very well the difficulty his father continually had to endure working for the family. That is why the way his son thought was different from other children. The son of the cleaner would use his notebooks conservatively, not wasting a single page. He would also be very careful with his pencils. And whenever there were things he needed money for in school, he would not ask of his parents, but simply said he would avoid doing the activities that required money. One day, while he was studying in school, his father kept coming to his mind. After class, a friend asked, "Hey, let's go over to my house and play." But that son could not do that. He went home and threw his books into the room and immediately ran to the area where his father was working. From afar, he could see his father putting ashes onto the cart and pulling it up the hill. Because it was so heavy and tiring and difficult, the father could not go up straight, but rather went up in a zigzag pattern. The son ran and started pushing the cart from behind with all his strength. The father suddenly felt the cart become much lighter. "Who's pushing it?" he thought. But because of the tall pile of ashes, he could not see the person who was pushing. When they reached the crest of the hill and stopped the cart, he looked behind and saw that it was his son. It was his own son, and he felt so thankful to him. The father then laid the cart to one side and went to the store, bought 2 large round moon pies, sat down and ate them with his son. "Is it good?" the father asked. "Yes, it's good, father. Won't you have some more?" "Did you eat enough?" "I am fine." "I am full because I had lunch just a little while ago. But father, why don't you have some more?" "No, I am also full." "Father, I haven't had this bread treat for a long time. It's so delicious." The father would think of the son, and the son would think of his father. And although they were poor, the love flowed between their hearts. The son used to feel that it would be embarrassing if his friends at school found out that his father was a cleaner, if he were to run into them while pushing his father's cart. However, when the son saw the image of his father, who would go out to work for his family despite all his physical pain, he would help his father as soon as he finished school for the day. The father and son, whose hearts were very close, were happy.